Every century, there is a redefinition of job due to technological advancement. And Power BI data analyst is not left out, even all data analysts, because the tools we use today are having new features that is redefining what you can do as a data analyst. Take for example, in the past, most Power BI data analysts doesn't know anything about machine learning or data science, but today these capabilities are now in Microsoft Power BI. What that then means is what is expected of you as a data analyst is changing. You are expected to do beyond just visualization and building reports to someone who will also apply AI and machine learning models within Power BI service. Yes, it is possible, and that's all I'm going to be showing you in this course. How can you as a data analyst leverage these new features that is redefining what is expected from you by knowing how to use these AI services and machine learning, build and deploy machine learning model within Microsoft Power BI service. I'm really excited to show you this part, and I believe that it's going to help you in your career journey. Thank you. Now that you know as a data analyst, you can leverage the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning within Power BI, let me walk you through what we cover in this short course. First, we're going to talk about the requirement and setup. What do you need to have set up? What are the requirements you need to put in place to truly go through this course end to end? And after this, we're going to explore AI-powered DAX in Power BI Desktop. So you start understanding how AI is changing the tools you use in Power BI, and we're going to start with Power BI Desktop. DAX, yes, you write DAX, but let's see AI-powered DAX in Power BI Desktop. And thereafter, we'll talk about text analytics with AI. So within Power BI, we are analyzing report data. How can you leverage AI in Power BI to get more insight from this data? It's actually exciting, and you're going to see it. Also, we'll consider the topic called data flow. It can be something new to you, but I'm going to break it down, and more importantly, show you how to create a data flow. What are the requirements? What do you need to create one, and how can we leverage data flow as we move forward? And then we're going to learn how to deploy, not just deploy, train and deploy machine learning model in Power BI service. Really insightful, and this is what corroborates what I earlier said, that AI and technology is changing and redefining the kind of job we do, and you will see that in action in this session. Okay, this is just the interface. You see how to create and train your model, how to improve this model, and how to apply your model, all in Power BI service. Wow, really exciting, isn't it? Not just that, that's not all. We're also going to learn how to analyze model explainability output in Power BI Desktop. So all the things we've done in Power BI service, we take the explainability part to desktop, and we're going to analyze and build even reports on top of that. Exciting, isn't it? So I can't wait to walk you through this journey, and I'm really excited as well. So let's dive in. All right, let's talk about requirement and setup. Just before that, I'm so happy because Power BI data analyst too can now do machine learning. Aren't you excited? Yes, I am. Okay, just before that as well, I just want to make this known to you. I'm pushing on my YouTube channel to reach my 10,000 subscribers milestone. It's been almost 2 years journey now, and 7.8 thousand. Thank you for everyone that have actually subscribed to this. If you are finding value and you're going to get value in this course, please do subscribe and also like. It goes a long way to encourage me. Now let us discuss what you need. What do you need to take everything we're going to do in this course so that I can also replicate them? You're going to need a Power BI Pro license with a premium capacity. No. You are thinking, oh, this is going to cost me. It's not going to cost you. So go to the link that I have right here, aka.ms/setupm365developer. It's going to give you access to Microsoft 365 developer account, and it will take you to this page right here. I actually created this blog, so it's a well-detailed guide. It's going to help you understand what is Microsoft 365 developer plan. It's actually there for you to learn, and for learning purposes and development purposes. None of them is for production or commercial purposes. So, and what is it involved? What does it entail? It includes E5 license, which gives you access to Office 365 apps and services, And this video right here will show you how to actually set this up. Okay, and if you want questions around this other video is doing that. Once you're able to set up your Microsoft 365 developer account, it gives you access to Power BI Pro, and through that we can also activate the Power BI Premium per user license, which is needed for Dataflow and also to do this machine learning thing. But after you're done doing this, you also need to install Power BI Desktop. Don't forget, while you are setting up your M365 developer account, you have to put in your personal Microsoft account. If you don't have one, create one. And then once you create that developer account, your email will look like something at something.onmicrosoft.com. Please don't forget that admin email and the password you set. The password might be very long because you are asked to set a very strong password. Please make sure you don't forget. And after you're done, if you are logging into Power BI or you are logging into office.com, it's most likely that it's going to log into your personal office account because you are doing those things together on the app. So you need to make sure you check if you are logging into your personal account. If you are doing that, you sign out, close the browser, open it again, go to office.com and input this time around your developer account details and log in. That way you can always keep accessing these services, including Power BI Pro. I also mentioned that you need to install Power BI Desktop. So I have on my PC. Just go on your Windows PC to Microsoft Store, and right here I'm on Store. So search for Power BI Desktop. When you search for Power, you're going to see different type of Power BIs there, but make sure it is Power BI Desktop that you are installing. You can see we have Power BI, we have Power BI Desktop. You click on Power BI Desktop and you can then download or install right here. Now, the advantage of doing that here is that on your system, it's going to update automatically. If you download them from Power BI website, you need to go and download every time there's a new feature releases and versions of Power BI Desktop. You have to download that and reinstall. But if you do that here, automatically, as far as the internet network, it's at the background, it will actually update and optimize your Power BI Desktop version. All right, these are the only thing needed. First, the Microsoft 365 developer account, which is most important, and second, Power BI Desktop. In the next video, we dive in. Let's talk about the AI-powered DAX in Power BI Desktop. Like I said at the start of this course, technology is changing the features in the tools that we use and thereby redefining the way we work. If you use Power BI for data analysis, you agree with me that DAX is the most complex part of it. It is what separates beginners from intermediate, from advanced. And what Microsoft is doing today is infusing AI into these tools so that you can do more with less. And that way you can speak your natural language and it will respond. And that leads me to the tweet by this guy. Is an amazing tweet, isn't it? By Andre Kapati, who says earlier this year that the hottest new programming language is English. I need to mention this. It could be another language, but it's actually natural language. Why is it the hottest? Because today with AI, generative AI, and host of other feature of artificial intelligence, you then see that natural language is the new programming language. Your ability to tell the system or the tools what you want to do and is able to create the necessary codes and get the work done. Isn't that interesting? That's exactly what we're about experiencing in Power BI. It is called Codex. Codex is another form within of generative AI, meaning you could write natural language and it's generating the equivalent code or function. And we're going to see this in action in Power BI Desktop. So let me go to Power BI Desktop and show you this. Here's my Power BI Desktop and I'm going to connect to a data. I have a data already on my PC, which is part of the resources for this course. It's called financial sample data. We just want to test how it works. So I'm going to click on open. So this is loading up. I have to just select this table financials and I'm going to load it. I don't need to do any transformation at this layer, at this phase. It's just to load it. All I need to do is to load the data, and right now it's loading into my data set, which is already there. When it comes to DAX, I need you to look at this feature very well. When I click on quick measure as a feature, it takes me here, quick measure. Here you can select what you want to calculate, max per category. You can select based on this data and say sales, base value is sales. You can drag it here and you can look for the product and say product as category, and you can click on OK. So I'm trying to calculate what is the maximum per category here. I'm going to click OK. it will create the measure for me. Do you see that? It's creating the measure for me. And if I just click yes, I can see the measure says max per category. And when I click that here on my table, it's going to insert that here. And I divide this by products right here. So this is it. This is the maximum product by category. And of course you can continue to customize this and say data label so that you can look at it better. All right. But what we're doing here, it's interesting, but because when I was creating my DAX, I used quick measure, right? And I actually went ahead and defined what kind of things I want to do, and I also drag in the data involved. That's cool, right? I also want to show something more cooler than this, but before you see that, you need to activate something in your Power BI desktop. You go to File and go to Public Options and Settings, then go to Options. Under Options, you need to enable a preview, which is quick measures. So go to Preview Features, then you will see Quick Measure Suggestions. Okay, you activate it. Click OK. You need to restart your Power BI before this can take effect, so I'm going to click OK right here. And make sure you've logged into your developer account to the admin account, because you need admin feature to enable this. I need to also save this so that I don't lose the progress of what we've done, and I'm just going to call it quick measure. So it's going to store in my desktop. So quick measure, we'll be able to recall it. All right. So I'm going to close this. If you are wondering how to connect to Power BI service, Power BI service, just go to office.com on your browser and log into your developer account. Then navigate to this waffle button at the top left and click Power BI. It's going to sign you into Power BI. It might request for sign-in details for the very first time, or otherwise it's just going to use the same sign-in details from Office to log you into Power BI service. Right here, I'm in Power BI service. All you have to do is navigate to this top right and go to Settings and go to Admin Portal. You must be an admin before you can do this. In case you are using the Power BI in your organization, you might not see these settings because you are not admin, except you are admin. There are a lot of things to activate here, but just scroll down to the last part here, and when you get here, you're going to see these things here. You're going to see Quick Measure Suggestion. Enable it. This is disable. Enable and select the entire organization. Apply. It might take 15 minutes to apply that, but it doesn't often take effect very fast. And this I have enabled, which you don't have, but you need to enable this. Okay. This is enabled. All right. This also allows user data to leave their geography. This is very important. If you do not enable this enable, you can disable it. Actually, by default, is disabled. You need to enable it because this data is currently processed. The quick measure is currently processed in the US, and if you do not enable it, it cannot transfer your data to the US domain and help you run that or enjoy that AI capability. Currently it's in preview mode. That is why it's not available in all regions. So if you want to test it out, you also need to enable this and click apply. So it's apply here, and everything is fine. All I need to do is go back to my Power BI desktop, put it up again, and connect to our data. Don't forget, we've already have a data set we are connecting to now. And what is that data? It is quick measure with label quick measure. I'm going to double click on it to open it up. Awesome. So we have it now opened up. Our quick measure report is opened up, and don't forget, we've also made all those changes by enabling the quick measure feature. If I click again on this quick measure, it has changed. Do you observe that? It has changed, and I can see calculations similar to what I was trying to do the other time, but over here I can also see suggestions. And what this means is I can write natural language. When I type anything I want, it can create the measure for me. The previous one, you must have the technicality, you must know the column, you must know what to drag, you must even know you are calculating max per category or per product. But here, I can also ask questions and say, total sales for maybe Canada. I'm asking for my data, total sales for Canada. When I say generate right here, it's going to generate the DAX for me, the DAX that I should write. I don't know how to write DAX, so this is total sales for Canada, but this is the DAX. It's written it out there, so I can actually click on add. So that's the quick measure. This is AI, this is Codex. It's generative AI, but it's generating code, and that concept is called the name for that kind of result is called codex, because that really generate that. And I'm just going to click don't show again. You see the measure is right there, so I can say total sales Canada. I can click it. So that is it. It has been able to create for me total sales for Canada measures, which I can now insert, and I can turn this to a card, and this is it. And this, in case you want it to be in dollars, I can close this, guys, total sales in Canada, and come here and turn it to dollar, so I can report this number in dollars. Do you see? So this is exactly what I'm saying. It's already changing. So in case you are afraid of Power BI in the past, or what is most important there is critical thinking skill. How do you describe your natural language? That's where the prompt comes in now. Prompt engineering. How do you describe your natural language, what you want to do in such a way that it could generate the DAX for you? So generating DAX is no longer a problem, it's no longer a challenge. It is you understanding what you want to do and tell Power BI that, oh, I want to do this, and it's going to create that for you. Right now, this feature is not available for live connected data. In case you are using direct query connecting to a data source somewhere, it can't work yet. It's still in preview. But when you export your data to a file and you use import method to get them into wherever the sources is coming from, but if you use import method to get into Power BI, you'll be able to use this feature. Don't forget, we also activated 2 other things, and I'm going to close back on this quote. The hottest programming language today is now your natural language. It's just for you to learn how to use it and to talk to the tools. All right, this is just one. We have a few other things to also show. In the next video, we take it further. Another feature we'll be exploring is text analytics with AI, and we're going to do this in 2 parts. One using Power BI Desktop, the other one using Power BI Service. So we're going to start with the Power BI Desktop, and we're going to see how to leverage AI, as a data analyst, even within Power BI Desktop. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my Power BI Desktop, continuing from where we stopped the last time. So I will reshape this, guys. All right, not so much of work to be done on the visuals. And I would move to get my data. I have a data that is stored on my PC. I'm going to click on Excel workbook, and it is called review data. So it just survey data, and for you could collect survey data from the customers after a training about your product or services, or general rating. And right here, I'm going to click on review and navigate to transform data. Rather than loading the data, I'm going to transform it. Remember, I'm not after the visuals here. I'm after how can I use AI to provide more context to this data, and how can you leverage AI in Power BI Desktop. Look at this survey data. There's gender, there's student ID, there's training day, there's training feedback, and this is open-ended. And most of the time, that is what you want to analyze beyond just the word cloud. You really want to carry out some text on it. Okay, and let's do this together. When you click on text analytics here, this guy is feeding into, is going to invoke cognitive service, Azure Cognitive Service, which is AI within, AI services from Azure. But when you click on it, it's really going to load right here. It's going to connect your account, might ask you to sign in, and might prompt you with some sign-in details. Then it's going to log in and start checking for available text analytics services, and we're going to see them shortly. So it took some seconds before this shows up, but right here you can see we have 3 text analytics services we can actually use. One of them is sentiment score, the other is key phrase, extract key phrase, and the other last one is detect language. We're going to start with this detect language. So we say, okay, detect language. What language is it detecting? We're using column name. We're using column names, and it should focus on training feedback. That's the column. So I'm going to click on OK. It might bring up some prompt for you. Click OK and just follow the prompt. I've done that before on my desktop. That is why you might not see that. And right now, it's following the prompt, and it's going to generate a new column for me. That's okay. When you see information like this, click continue, and you might see some. Just click on ignore and click save. All right, and it's going to generate a new column. That this is going to tell me the language. For those, in case those customers submit in different languages, it's going to tell you, oh, this one is in English, this one in the other language. So the language that each of those texts are, it's going to tell you, detect the language and tell you. Why do we need it? I will use it as input in my other analytics I'm going to carry out. So let's just take continue. Okay, I've clicked continue. Depending on the volume of your data, could take some time, and the processing capability of your system could take some seconds or few seconds more to show up. Right now it's done, and you can see just loading the description and then column description. But we have two columns here. First, the full language, detected language name. Actually all are in English, and the other one right here is the ISO code, International Standard Code. We have EN. That is it. So it's done, detecting the language and tell me exactly what language were those feedback in. Right. That is not all. I need to go back again and use this text AI analytics to carry out another, activity. And what again do I want to do? I want this time around sentiment score. I need it to tell me the sentiment score. Just like before, it could take few seconds, but now we move on to sentiment score, sentiment, and it's going to ask me what is the text that I'm interested in, column name, and which column I'm interested in, training feedback, and what is the language. I'm also going to select column because I already have the ISO code, which is actually this guy. So in case there are multiple languages right now, you can see where one input is feeding into the other. And I'm going to click on OK, and this also run, and it's going to definitely generate new column as well, which we score sentiment from each of those texts and feedback from the customer about those training. As you can see right here, the results is here. It took few more seconds, in fact almost a minute, or like I said, depend on network speed, because this is assessing the AI feature right there. And you can see right there the results are there. Okay, I can see a result that is low here. What is the okay, the training was bad, no real world examples used in the training, and I said the training exceeded my expectation and I feel more confident. But you can see the result is 0.17. It's low, meaning it's not accurate. It's not accurate. So it's not everything that is accurate in the sentiment, but this is truly right. This is accurate. And what about this? Let's check. It's saying the training was not very engaging in my breakout session. Of course, there's a negative feedback. You can see the result is there. Let's move on to the next one, which we're still going to use. The last part here is the keyword key phrase extraction. This just help you, beyond just doing a word cloud. It splits down everything and extract the key phrases, and you could then carry out a word cloud on each of those phrases. So I'm going to click on text analytics again, and we'll use the key phrase extraction this time around. So we have it here. It is time to carry out the extract key phrases. I will click on it. It's telling me what is the text. I'm going to use column name, and I'm going to select my column, which is training feedback. Language, I have the language now. Column name, I'm going to select the ISO code, then click on OK. So the result is here, and you can see right there it's trying to extract key phrases. Then after the phrases, it goes ahead to extract just the phrase, so that it's just one word that comes out of it. And you can see right there that lot work is going to sum, depending on some logic. It's telling us, oh, it's lot. I'm going to take out from here. This one is work. Expectation is taking training material is taking them as training material. Skills, expectation training is picking up skills, and that's what stands out in that person's comment, in the context of the comment. I mean, this is pretty much cool, and you can then run word cloud on this. Right here, we've used 3 AI features. So as a data analyst, when you have open-ended questions to work with, like customer feedback or review about your product and services, you can apply these AI services within Power BI. And now that I'm done applying them, I can just click on close and apply. Then in your visuals, you can go ahead and start using them. You can, dive deeper, your data, and do anything you want to do, because they're actually there. Right. In the next video, we're going to go to Power BI service, and we'll explore similar thing that we've done here. All the 3 things we've done here, we're going to try it out over there, and also explore Power BI Dataflow. Right now we have everything is done loading, and you can see that our review data, all the columns are now here. You can also check them out right here. When I click on the review data, we can see all the columns are here, and you can use them in your analysis. All right, bye. Welcome back. In this video, we'll talk about Power BI data flow, or let me say data flow in Power BI. Okay, this might be a new concept to you, but I will try as much as possible to make it simple. In Power BI service, data flow is a cloud-based ETL. You must have used Power BI desktop and you do extract, transform, and load. And you can't use Power Query in Power BI service because you do that a lot in Power BI desktop. So for you to enable and do this Power Query thing, which is extract, transform, and load in Power BI service, you need a data flow. Because the tool allows users to extract, transform data from variety of sources, including on-premise databases, cloud data sources, and even other Power BI data models. Data flows can be created, managed, and scheduled directly in Power BI service. So it's making it easy for business users to connect with data without the need for complex data pipelines. Once data is actually transformed and loaded into data flow, it can be used to create data models and report in Power BI. The moment you have your data right there, you can manipulate it, and create several versions of that data so that people just connect directly to the data rather than connecting to different data sources. I'm going to mention some services or several benefits that data flow actually offers. One is data transformation. Data flow allows users to transform data using Power Query. You know the advantage of Power Query. The moment you ingest your data and you transform it and you load, every time data is refreshed from the sources and included new data sources or new data sets, they pass through that pipeline and they get transformed without you going back to clean or do it again and again. So which is actually a very powerful data transformation engine. The other one is data reusability. Data flow can be used to create multiple data models. From a single data that you are connected to, you can create different versions and model of that data. One for claims department, one for sales department, one for finance department, from the same data source you connected to. And those models now you can give them to different units and assign and determine who can access them. And that leads to the second, the third question, the third point, which is data governance. Data flows provide data governance capabilities such as access control and data lineage. Lineage is the history of data from its origination to the final point of consumption, and it shows you exactly what level of transformation has been carried out on that data, how many places it's being used today, and all those kind of graphical images and lineage, which actually helps organization to ensure data is used appropriately. And the last part I'm going to mention before we move on to see data flow is scalability. Data flows can actually handle large volumes of data. When you are creating them, you can say is it for small or large volume of data, and provide automatic partitioning and optimization of data processing, which means it creates some, let's just say, some engine at the back end and then partition the workload, so it's not just your own system. That is why it requires premium per user license at the minimum, so that it can have dedicated capacity where it can split the work among several engines and can run them faster, so that it can still load Power Query irrespective of the volume of data you're working on. So I would say data flow in Power BI service is a powerful ETL tool that helps users to transform and prepare data for analysis and reporting. Right now, let us go and let's see data flow in action. And this is going to take us to Power BI service. This is where you need your Microsoft 365 developer user these days that you have created. We're going to see that fully in action. Right now, I'm in Power BI service, and you can easily tell yours might be empty because you've not created any sort of visuals or dashboard or data set, so you might have something empty here. And at the top here, you can also get a prompt that is asking you to try Power BI premium per user license for free. If you see that, awesome, because you're going to need it. But before that, why would you need Power BI premium per user license? Okay, the first thing here is let's have our workspace. If I go to my workspace, which is my workspace, that's the default workspace, and you go to new, navigate to new, you will see data flow is not here. So by default, the default workspace that comes with Power BI service does not enable data flow, and you then need to create a new workspace. We have to create a new workspace. When you create a new workspace, then the data flow is activated. If you are not admin, you might not be able to create new workspace. So I'm also going to show you first how to enable workspace creation for other users, so that if you're actually you have access to admin and you want to enable that, you can actually do that. So let's go to top right here and go to settings and go to admin portal. from the admin, you won't even see all these features, the admin portal, all these features here, if you actually not an admin. So under tenant, you see workspace settings, create workspace. Who can create workspace is enabled, and the entire organization. So meaning anyone can actually create a new workspace. If it's disabled, nobody will be able to create workspace except the admin. All right. This is very, very needful for you. And other settings you need to turn up, I will not show that here, because when we get to that point, then that's when you should turn up the settings. So once workspace is activated, that is cool. So I'm going to go back to my workspace right here, and I'm going to create a new workspace. How do I create new workspace? I'm going to click right here, workspaces, and see new workspace. I'm going to just say demo ML Power BI demo. And while I'm doing this, under advanced, you're going to see right here workspace admins, that's the contact list. And from there, you see license mode, Power BI Pro, because you have it, that's the minimum you see you must have, Power BI Pro. But you need premium per user license. You won't see this active for you. If you see it active, you will need to, I'm sure it's not active to ask you to actually do a trial, because it is paid license, but you soon need it. I don't want us to use it here, so you could understand why premium per user license is helpful. So just leave it at Pro and then click on save. You might also toggle any of these things, which or actually there is no need to. So I'm going to click on save. This will create a new workspace, which we've already named ML Power BI Demo. Yes, we have our workspace right here. Okay, great. And when I click right here, new, you see Dataflow is here. Prepare, clean, and transform data. That is actually ETL. So we have Dataflow right here. Okay, and I'm also going to show you quickly how it works. When I open my Dataflow, this looks familiar, right? Because we actually had it on the slide when we were talking about Dataflow right here. Yes, it is. So you can, and to start, you have to start by adding tables. So there's nothing like Dataflow if you don't have a table. And when you are adding table, there are different options to select. So it connects to data from different sources. That's exactly what you're seeing on the screen right here. You see, just like Power BI desktop, where you can connect to data from different sources, we have data coming from different sources. And we could start by saying, oh, connect to Excel, and I'm going to upload the Excel. The upload feature is currently in preview. I'm going to browse and go to my desktop and click this review data. Of course, we use review data in our last video. It's very small in sample size, in data size. You're just going to upload it so that you see how data within Dataflow actually works. Now it's uploaded. It's going to try to authenticate connection credentials. It's fine because it automatically upload the data to your OneDrive and use your Office 365 license account to connect to it. That's what has happened right there. And I'm going to click next. This screen actually looks like the Power Query, which actually it is. You can see Power Query right here within Power BI. Impressive. And within Power BI service. When I click on this review CSV, you're going to see an overview of the data. Then I'm going to move ahead and go to transform data. Remember, we've just extracted. We're going to transform and load. So I'm going to transform data right now. What we have right here is the Power Query view. As you can see, data already, there's some level of transformation has even been done. Number one, the header of the file has been promoted so that it can properly read their data type. And you see this right here. You could even do more customization, do as much as you like, and transform, add column, do all those just the way we do in Power BI desktop. And if you're done, you can click on save and close to load it. Now I'm going to click on save and close. So it did that connection and it's going to ask me to save this data set in Dataflow. Okay. For me to save this, I'm going to call it review Dataflow. Oops. I mistakenly pressed something on my keyboard and then so it closed, but I need to restore from couch and then hopefully I get it back. Yeah, so review CSV, I have the table here. Good. And these are the columns on the table. You can always go back right there and edit. It takes you to the Power Query view. Okay, I'm gonna, since you started editing, okay, click OK. And right here, this screen is apply machine learning model. We're still coming there. So, and that is why you see here, I need premium capacity to be able to do this, which is not assigned to this workspace. Okay, and here settings, you can rename from settings you can actually rename your workflow, which is still having issue. I'm going to refresh to know why. And lastly, here you can do schedule refresh, incremental refresh. How frequent should you refresh? Because the data is connected to a particular source and new records need to come in as well, things like that. Okay, great. So let me close this. Do you want to save changes? Save. Yep, I need to save now. Review data flow and just say review data and click on save. Now that I'm saving this should actually work. Right, so can't save data flow because newer version of it was saved since we started doing it. Okay, so let me refresh. When I reload, I should be able to sync back. All right, I guess everything is back now. I've synced back. If I click on this review data flow, inside it I have a single table. You can have multiple tables. You can also have machine learning models. We'll talk about this shortly, but it requires premium license, which you will see how we are going to activate that. Awesome. To better appreciate what we are doing, I'm logged into a different Power BI account that does not even have an admin access, but I've enabled admin. I've enabled ability to create workspace for this account through the admin, and I want to create a new workspace from fresh. We're going to activate the Power BI premium per user license, so you see how it works and how you can actually activate the free trial version, because I have it on my previous account, so I need to use one from scratch. Don't forget, we need to create a workspace, so I'll navigate to workspaces and create new workspace. I'm going to call this ML in Power BI demo. It's checking right now. It's checking if that is available. Okay, that workspace is available. Under advanced, I'm going to click on, premium is available to try. At this point, we're going to assign a premium per user license. So when I click on premium per user license, that is why it can also take large data set storage, but we're going to leave it as simple, and I'm going to click on save. You see, it's saying get more features with premium per user. So you need to buy it, but you're going to do try free, and this will give you 60 days access to this, and that's exactly what we're trying to do right now. Looks we're successful with that. Yep, all the premium per user features of Power BI are yours for 60 days, and of course we're going to use this to learn, and you can use that to also showcase value to your organization. After that, they will definitely get the license, because you see, it is something really valuable. Got it, and I'm going to click on save. Okay, loading. First thing you will notice is this 59 days premium per user trial. You have 59 days to go, and when I come to workspaces, the workspace I created is actually not yet created. I don't know why, so let me refresh again and see, otherwise we have to create afresh. Okay, so I'm done refreshing. Let's go back here to workspaces. So it's not done, so let's create again. Now we know we have premium per user license now, so I'm just going to click on new workspace and call it ML in Power BI demo. It's checking if it's available. Yep, available. Under advanced, I'm going to assign premium per user license, and I'm going to click on save. Voila, so this really works for us now. Okay, and you can take a tour just to know what all these features in this environment means, but I'm going to click on new, just like you see. Dataflow is here. In fact, there's data mart now that in preview. Data mart is similar to Dataflow, but it does more of this online streaming and activity data set. Business focused data mart this time around, not just the cleaning process. And when I click on Dataflow, sometimes it will prompt me that, oh, do I want to create a data mart, because they're promoting data mart, which is self-service. Just say nope, no, don't ask me again, create a data flow for me, just like we did in the other video, in the previous video, where we created data flow but for an environment, for a workspace that is not premium per user license. So we're going to create this now for premium per user license. I'm going to click on new tables, and we will upload our data. Our data source is actually Excel workbook. I can upload, I can also search and browse my OneDrive directly from here if I have it stored in OneDrive. But I'm just going to upload and click browse and review data. While it uploads the data, it's also going to upload it directly to my OneDrive and use that access to create a connection instead of me putting in connection credentials. right there is done and it's asking me to sign in, so I have to click on sign in. I love this because it's helping us to see how it might prompt you doing it for the very first time. Okay, I'm done doing the sign in to this account. I have to click next. There's a network error here, so I'm going to refresh, and most likely by default the data has been cached, so I just need to continue with that process. Otherwise I will have to upload the data again. I don't even need to upload again because it's already uploaded on OneDrive. I can actually pick it from OneDrive. Okay, you can see it doesn't close properly. I'm going to click on yes so that I can retrieve it from cache. So we have the query right here, but of course it's not giving me data the way I want it to appear. So I can click on this just to split this table. By double clicking on that, I can then see the tables, and also all the things that should have been done automatically is here. I have to do it myself. I'm having all this because of the unexpected error, but I click on that double angle to expand the table, and right here I can also click here and say use first row as headers. These are the things that I should have done automatically. So right now it's going to promote the header as the first row, and that way I can have my data in their correct data type. Yep, so I have them the correct data type, which is what I have right here. All these additional things, I don't need them. So like this, I can delete this column if I want to delete it. These are the transformation you need to do. Remove column, I'm going to click on remove column. And this guy too, I need to remove. All these columns, I need to remove them. That's not actually how it should appear, but because it has encountered some error, then it trolling, it couldn't complete all the transformation that should have been done by default, then I can just do that myself. So I'm back to exactly what I needed, which is student ID, gender, training date, and training feedback. So let's save this first. I'm going to click on save and close. It will prompt me to also rename my data flow. So we're just going to call it review data flow. Right now I've named or renamed my data flow as review data flow 1. Data flow with this name already exists in the workspace, but it ended up getting saved. Click on OK. Similar challenge that we had the last time. I'm not sure why this is happening. My network is not stable at this point, but let me refresh. So I'm refreshing right now. One other thing that I observe is that my workspace does not yet indicate that it's a premium per user license. When I come back here to OK, I can see that I was expecting to see this diamond icon, which is not in the default workspace, is there now. That shows that is a premium per user license. Okay, so I can then go inside my review data flow. If I open this up, you can see these are the columns that I have in my data set. To rename this, I have to go back to the Power Query. We'll go there shortly. I can do my incremental refresh here, my settings here. I can apply machine learning model. We're not adding that yet. So I'm going to click back on this edit table so that I can go to Power Query, and from there we can do our text analytics just like we did on the desktop. Now that we're back to Power Query, the first thing you want to do is maybe to rename your query table, which I'm going to call review data. So I've renamed it to review data, so it has changed here. Of course, the next is go to options, go to project options, and make sure you click on this allow combining data from multiple sources. If you do not allow this, you won't be able to access the AI insight. Let me just show you so that you know why. Okay, I'm going to click on cancel here. If I click on AI insight, it's likely going to prompt up with an error message. Okay, it's asking me to do this sign in, which I wouldn't have need to do them if I have enabled that. But okay, let me proceed and even run with the sign in option. When I checked in, it actually asks for my login details in a dialog box, a pop-up window. So you also follow that steps. Then I click on connect. It's prompting me again for another authentication. I click on connect. Of course, it's bringing me back again to AI functions. I have to sign in. I click on sign in again. So I went through that sign in process. I went through that sign-in process again. It could keep prompting you for some sign-in, meaning it's trying to access the AI functions, and this is exactly the error that it will prop up. The reason why you're having this kind of error is because you have not enabled that setting that I mentioned. So I'm going to click on close and click cancel here. Come back to options and project options and allow combining data from multiple sources and click OK. Now that I've allowed this and click on OK, I can directly click on my AI Insight and it's going to invoke the available machine learning services without prompting with the error that I had the other time. So it actually took a long time, so I had to cut in and say let me save and close so that that change we made can take effect, and we'll go back and to Power Query, so that way we could shorten the time and really get the result that we want. So once you activate that enable connection from multiple source, you should then close, save and close, then come back to Power Query so that that change can take effect. So I'm clicking back and going to Power Query now, and we can activate the AI feature once again. Alright, back to Power Query. Let us check if this has taken effect by going to project options. Yes, it has taken effect. I can cancel now. Oops. Yeah, I can cancel now and click on my AI Insight. The AI Insight is the equivalent of text analytics that you can see in Power BI desktop, and right here I have 4 AI services that I can actually use: extract key phrases, detect language, score sentiment, even tag images. But let's start with language detection, just the way we did it on the desktop version. I'm going to come here and enter use value in the column, and that's training feedback just to detect the language. Click apply, and this will run query within Power BI service now and form a new column as expected, which we're going to get the language where those feedbacks are in, and also the ISO code for that language. I have them right here. English, so fast. Yes, and that's another advantage, is fast because it just depends on internet speed. And I have the English, I have EN here, which is the ISO code. Let me go again because I need more AI insights. I can click right there, and the next is sentiment. Okay, I'm going to use the users column, and this is the column I'm interested in, training feedback. The ISO code is optional, but I can also use because I already have it, and this is it, the last guy here, ISO code. I'm going to click on apply. This also create additional columns that literally score each of those texts, provide the sentiment scores. And the last one I'm going to work on or going to apply right here is the key phrase extraction. It just simplify word cloud creation, because the moment you have the key phrases, just then create a word cloud from it. It has removed the stop words. It's literally giving those key phrases in the context of the comment that was passed by the customer. So the result is out, and you can see the scores for the sentiment score for those texts. Okay, like I also mentioned in the previous video, most time is not always accurate. There could be some talk so slow. Yes, this is really negative. Yeah, okay, I saw one that was not that negative. The training was bad. Oh, it's negative. How about this? The training exceeded my expectations and I feel more confident in my skills now. That should be very strong positive feedback, but it's still rating it very low. So it's not all that is accurate, but this is really cool. So the last one I'm going to do is key phrase. I'm going to just use the key phrase. Where is the text? I'm going to use value in a column, and I'm going to select training feedback. The ISO language, we know that it's this. All right, I'm going to click apply. Now the result is out, and you can see it extracted 2 things just the way it worked. First, it looked at the context, what are the few words I can pick together, and finally pick one out of the 2 words, except if they are the same, 2 words but means the same thing or goes together. That's when we can see that. So this is the final, key phrase extraction that has been done, and you can create a word cloud based on this. I'm going to click on save and close. Most likely I know it's my network issue, so I'm going to close this. Of course, check to be sure everything is fine. Yeah, everything is fine. I'm going to click on save and close again, and this time around it works. So it was network issue that time. Put in schema, everything is done. The moment it's saved and closed, you're going to get it takes us back to the Dataflow view, and any new record that comes in, those things we've calculated, we've done, we continue to apply to those new records. That's really amazing. So you've literally deployed it, you've applied it, and it's there. You don't need to disturb yourself about it again. That's really impressive. In the next video, we're going to touch this machine learning. You can see it is now active. You can get started because we are using premium per user license. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the use case, and we will use this to actually solve the challenge. Thank you. It is time to put to use that actual machine learning building process in Power BI service, and our use case is going to be predict likelihood to purchase. Okay. So suppose you are a data scientist at a retail e-commerce company, and your team is tasked with increasing the company's revenue by improving the effectiveness of the targeted marketing campaigns. Your team believes that identifying customers who are likely to purchase products can help increase the conversion rate of the marketing campaigns. To achieve this goal, you plan to use the data set you created to train a machine learning model that can predict whether a customer is likely to purchase a product or not. To build the model, you plan to use the features in the data set such as the age, the gender, income, education, all these variables to create a predictive model that can identify the customers who are most likely to purchase products. You will use a combination of feature engineering, all this kind of thing, which you would not literally do yourself as a data analyst, but you will leverage Power BI data service, Power BI service. You will use it to score the model database, customer database, which of course now is the data we have exported to Excel, and identify the customers who are most likely to purchase product. Beyond that, you are actually tasked with using the insight gained from the model. Your team can then design more targeted design campaigns with tailored messages and promotions to reach those customers who are most likely to purchase. This approach can help increase the conversion rate of marketing campaigns, which in turn can lead to increased revenue for the company. So this is how you can see what's the value of machine learning model, or as a data analyst, how can you contribute to the value of the organization. You can see one here. Let me show you the data that we'll be using. I've already uploaded it to my OneDrive, linked to my account, which is purchase decision. And this is the data, is an Excel, not a CSV. It's an Excel, customer ID, max ID. They've actually launched product like this in the past, and they targeted some customers. So these are the decision. Did those customers buy or not? So we have buying and not buying. All right. And these are the other variables available about the customer. Okay. So I'm going to go back now to Power BI and create a new data flow and call it purchase decision and link it to this data. So I'm just going to close it here. New tables, and I'm going to select Excel workbook. Because it's already in my OneDrive, I just need to click on this browse OneDrive, and this way you can also see how this feature works. So the feature has literally put up this for us, and because the Excel, I'm going to see the data right in the OneDrive dialog that is open up right here. I'm going to click on select. There's no need to do any authentication again, just linking directly to my OneDrive account, and then all I have to do is click next. Right here I have the Power Query, and I can see those tables. I'm only concerned with table 1. I'm going to click on transform data. I don't have much of transformation to carry out here actually. The data is already there, the table, the columns are there. All I just have to ensure is the options under the project loads. I want to be sure that I can select the other one and then save this. I come to this option, project options, and make sure this is allowed. Okay, let it just load the tables, then I'm done. I don't really have any work to do. Don't forget, one part of this process is data cleaning, which you literally need to do using Power Query, but I'm not doing data cleaning today. Okay, so we have all the columns we need. I'm just going to click on save and close. Then I need to rename my workflow, data flow, which I will call purchase decision. Purchase decision, then I can just copy and paste this same purchase decision here. Then I'm going to save. Remember, we have table 1. It's because we've not renamed the table in Power Query, which I ought to have done that. Okay, so this is done, and it is time to apply my machine learning model. This is how simple it is to do that in Power BI service. Don't forget, this is this process. Create and train your model. When you're done, you can improve it if the result is not what you want to see, and finally you apply it on your data set so that every new record that comes in continue to apply to them. But let's go ahead and train the machine learning model. Click on this brain box and click on add machine learning model. Here is table 1. We can come back to that later. The column of interest is actually purchase decision right here, and I'm going to click next. Automatically goes through my data to identify what model is more suitable, which column should I use, and all those kind of things. Right here is saying binary prediction is what is applicable here. And what are the examples of binary prediction? We are determining the likelihood of a sales lead converting, or the probability of a customer responding to a marketing campaign or not. You can actually use binary prediction, similar to what we are trying to do here. You might also decide to change the model. So we still have the binary prediction. We have general classification right here, which includes classifying credit card applicants into groups of those who have good credit, bad credit, or those that require further analysis, and also regression, which is purely the data point, meaning quantitative data. It is not active because the data is not suitable for carrying out that kind of analysis. So I'm going to just click back on this binary because that's what I need. Then right here I'm going to select buying is my variable of interest, is my choice of interest. So, and when the result is matched, put it as buying. If it's not matched, put it as not buying. I'm going to click next. It's going to run quickly correlation analysis to identify which of these variables actually correlated with my variable of interest. I actually manipulate this data, so not really business data. And what we have right here, these are the variables saying these variables actually correlate, others have low correlation. So let me just go with recommendation. I'm going to click on next. Model name, decision, I'll say purchase. So just purchase. I'm fine. How long do I want to take to train this? The longer the better, but I'm just going to keep this at 20 minutes. And I'm going to click on save and train. Immediately it's going to generate two data sets, training and test data set. So if I go back to purchase decision, which is running right now, refreshing my data source and training the algorithm to build a model. I have training, which is the training data set. I have the purchase the test data set. It's by default it uses the 80-20 rule. 80% of the data is used for training and 20% for testing. Once this is done, I'll be able to see this report clickable. It's currently great, but it's going to be clickable the moment this is done. So I'm going to pause the video and wait for this model to be done so that I can see the report, and the other video we will definitely interpret the results. Now in purchase decision data flow, how will you know if it is done training? Go to machine learning models. Like I said the other time, this guy is going to be active. View training report. You can view training report by coming right here, and you can also see the status trained. It is not ready, like trained, and the time last trained is there. And you can actually go here and click on view training report, or you come back here on your table, click on this brain box icon and click on purchase. Wow, you can see 98% model performance. No, we'll come back to this interpretation later. Don't worry, you can see all these things here. We'll interpret them in the next video. Let us interpret the result of our model performance. This is really interesting because the product owner or whoever work on this feature understand that Power BI data analyst might not be that involved or skillful in the traditional data science activity. So most of the things you need to think about or explain as regards the result of your model, they made it available right here. And let's go through them together one by one. All right, so I'm going to start with what we have right here, how the model was evaluated. The model predicted pre-purchase decision probabilities for a test set of 3,823. That's 20% of the records. And compare the predicted outcomes based on the selected threshold to the historical outcomes to be sure, oh, is this guy accurate or not? And the area under curve, which is AUC, observed on the test set is 98%, meaning wow, 98% accuracy when it was applied on the test set. That is good. Different features have varying influence on the predicted outcome. Click below for detail. Let us see top predictors. What are the variables that contributed to the efficiency of this model? And that's what we're going to see here. Wow. Year of date first purchase can determine if the customer purchases a new product or not. Don't get me wrong, it's the more data that I cook up. So right, number of orders is 1. When the number of orders is 1, those customers might still likely buy. Wow. Year of day of year of day of year of date first purchase. So day of year, wow, not just week or the month, the day, the year of purchases contributed, the day actually, look at all these things we're looking at. Those who yearly income is between these also contributes that either they buy or not. Wow, impressive. Okay, let's just see beyond this and move forward. What you can see right here is decision, it's called decision confusion matrix. And let's see how we can use this. So predicted buying is a matrix, and it's saying to us right here that predicted buying and actual buying, meaning this box represents customers that are actually going to buy if you recommend, and that was predicted by the model that's going to buy. That's accurate. I love that. That's why the recall is actually 100%. Actual not buying, these people are actually not buying. Predicted buying, wow, why will we predict them buying? Yep. So that is not correct, and that's why precision is around 45%. So we need to toggle this guy here, raise this probability. Not just about putting any number. As you are changing this probability, everything here is changing. You see, cool. So what we need to do is take more number to this side, lesser number here, more number here. So we just need to focus on these two columns. At what point or what probability will I get that level of will I get that huge result that I'm comfortable with? Okay, I'm still tuning it. Let's continue with the tune. I think this should be okay. To me, I would say this is fine, but let's tune more because I don't want any of this guy to be more than 150 and this guy to remain at that 1000 level. So let me just bring this guy a bit back to 41 and let's see what happened here. 200 and something, that's not good. Let's go towards 50, 156, now 151 now. So here is the decision. Where are you losing money or where are you making money as a business? And this is where you make that decision. If you're able to predict that a customer will buy and you go after that customer and the customer buy, isn't that good? So this is what we're actually after. So if a customer actually not buying and you actually predict 121, we can neglect that. But we don't want to miss any customer that is going to buy and say and leave them when because the model said they will not buy. So we need to tune this down to, let me just say this guy should be less than 100. I will have to go for any stage where this guy is less than 100 or 104 is still fine. And the more I'm tuning, you can see the percentage precision is also adjusting, which I think this is fine for me right now. Let's quickly move to cost benefit analysis. This is really interesting. This is how you add value to business. And look at it. It's saying for every 10,000 records, unit cost, how much is it for you to go after this customer? Oh, it's just to target them, right? We have them in our system just to send email to them. So actually it's not costing us, let's just say it's costing us 1 in Naira. It could be 0, but it actually minimum is 1. Let's say it's costing us $1 to do this because we actually pay for the SMS subscription. But what's the benefit? If this customer buys, then it has saved us acquisition cost for that product. Instead of you doing a lot of advert that you are paying. So how much is it going to pay if a customer buy? How much are we saving from the customer we already have without even advertising to get a customer? Let's say that means we're going to save about $3. If we are saving $3, this is going to help us calculate and tell us. Right there you can see everything has adjusted, and it's saying that given a population size of 10,000 based on this data that we have, a unit benefit of 3 and a unit cost of 1, the maximum profit that can be achieved is $7,998. If we put this in dollars, the minimum probability threshold required for that profit to be gotten is 0.42, and that's probability we have right there. 0.42 is the minimum if you truly want to get that gain. So we actually want to save the business 7,000. So this will help you when you use this cost benefit to do the analysis, then go back and tune this. So it's telling me that you must keep this probability at that number if you truly want to get this. If you truly want to get this kind of profit. That is mind-blowing, isn't it? Yes. This is how you think through how is your solution adding value to the business. So, and the marketing team can go, I will show you how they can actually figure out who these people are now and go after them after you've applied the model. But before you go ahead and apply the model, we come to accuracy results. accuracy report, and it's telling us here cumulative gains chart, often called Gantt chart. No, not Gantt chart, rather, it's cumulative gain chart, and we have the ROC curve. But first, accuracy of the model predictions. What does it mean? The likely accuracy of predictions generated by a machine learning model can be interpreted using a cumulative gains chart and the receiver operating characteristics, ROC curve. You learn about them right here. So don't forget the ROC is 98%. Then let's move right to the CGC, which is the cumulative gains chart. A cumulative gains chart shows what percentage of rows with the target outcome can be detected by targeting a percentage of the total rows. This is somehow. So I don't want you to start thinking rows, total rows, or no row. Let's really look here. This chart to interpret this is saying that for you to have the ideal results that can achieve the best of the results, your curve should follow this pattern, and this green should follow this pattern like this before coming up here. Meanwhile, if it is just random, your curve should be like this guy that is linear line. But your model, because your model is trained on data, it actually followed that pattern up to this point. So very close. That is why it's about 98%. You get me now? That's why it attained that kind of 98% accuracy. And that's the easiest way for you to even interpret this chart and not looking at this. So now if you look at this again, your model is used to sort the rows in descending order. You might not understand those technical terms. It is not always there for you, but you can see right here. I would say random guess, that is the linear line. The ideal is the theoretical perfect model. It should be like this. But if it achieved that, more or less is over engineering, and that could be overfitting. But I will talk about that later. So ROC curve, and ROC, which is also known as receiver operating characteristics curve, tells you how capable your model is to distinguish between the target outcome, positive, and the other rows in your data, which is the negative one. A model will produce probability between 0 and 1 for each of its row scores. So what actually happens at the back end is it has probabilities between 0 and 1, and then classify. If the probability is over 0.5, then you just turn it to 1, meaning buying. If it's less than 0.5, turn it to not buying. So what was predicted was probability, and probability was later rephrased to the decision you want to make, which is buying or not buying. And the whole analysis and how this whole thing curve is very close to this guy, you see. But it look at false positive and false negative, which turns to type 1 error and type 2 error. So but what we have is false positive rate. If our model, our model is actually right here, and under this curve is the percentage of false positive rate, which our model has avoided majority of it. This is the only part of the error, because this table is symmetric. So if you turn it to the other side, you see our model has covered this. The likelihood of our model error is what we have right here up to this point and this side. That is the likelihood of model error, because it covers from here up to this curve here. Okay, it is just to further re-emphasize or explain what goes into those decisions. But that's not all. Let's go to the third table here, third report, which is training details. I'm on the training details, and it's going to be really interesting. Let's see what we have here. How the model was trained. You don't know, you only click buttons and the model went into training. This is the training details report. Power BI use automated machine learning capability in Azure Machine Learning to train your model. Automated ML was used to find the best way to prepare your data. So all the featureization, which how many variables should I create, all those things, it went ahead and created them. Determine the algorithm used and select the algorithm parameters likely to yield the best accuracy. These steps were used in the machine learning pipeline, which generated your machine learning model. Sample rows 17,681, training rows 13,858. Final model used prefitted soft voting classifier. That is the final model that was used. Iteration run 32 iteration. Within that short period of time went 32 times to optimize, change parameters, do all those things. So this model quality over time. So first iteration, this was the quality 98%, accuracy. It continues like that, continues. At this point it's always eating it, so that this model has hit this highest value, which is still 98%, but now consistently high there, and maybe it has attained that optimal level, and then say, oh, I'm going to stop. The number of minutes you allow the model to train also plays a role here, because it has to do everything it needs to do within that time frame. All right, your machine learning model, the tables below contain the list of features extracted from the input. Remember, we did not even do anything. It went ahead to extract, do missing value analysis. It did all those things for us. And these are the variables we have. And right here is saying minimum models is 1. Maximum models considered were 15 models. Model seed threshold 0.05. Those are the seed that went upper parameter tuning. This is the final parameter that was selected for that particular algorithm, which is this pre-fitted soft voting classifier. But we see more details right here. So it's telling us that, oh, I actually use ensemble machine learning models. Another interesting finding. What is ensemble machine learning models? Ensemble models use multiple learning algorithms to obtain better predictive performance than may be obtained from a single learning algorithm. So ensemble models are useful for improving accuracy in certain cases, and this is one of the scenarios. What that means is it uses several algorithms, train several algorithms, ensemble them, combine them together to say, oh, individually you have wins but you have some flaws, but let me combine all your strength together. That might cover for many of the flaws. That's ensemble. Automated machine learning in Power BI generate ensemble models if they are found to be optimal. That's the condition. If an ensemble model is used, then the constituent model details will be presented below, which is what we can see right here. We can see the highest of the value or contribution come from light GBM classifier with the parameter set as 0, and you can also see the hyper parameter inside. Minimum data in leaf is 20. Light GBM classifier 0 key. Average of weight 0.4. All these are hyper parameter tuning. So within the algorithm, there are various parameters that you must know what is optimal before you can get the best possible result. So it has done all those things for us and picked that as the maybe I don't even know the method is used. We have two possible methods. We have the random, we have grid search, and then random search. So it used those things to find which parameter is optimal, but it has done those things and we have the result here. The other one is also light GBM classifier, but there are many upper parameters inside this one this time around, and that one also contributed more, followed by random forest classifier with several upper parameters. Move on to light GBM classifier, and lastly light GBM. So there were 5 algorithms in total. Out of the 5, 4 of them were light GBM, but with different upper parameter tuned, and the other one is random forest classifier. This is pretty interesting. And the last step, if you want to retrain your model, you click on edit model, then you update the algorithm, the parameter, the details you set in is going to retrain again. But I'm fine with this, and I'm going to click on apply model. When you click apply model, you're going to ask on the table, which table are you applying the model on? What is your threshold? Remember, we have identified the optimal threshold, which has to be 0.42. I'm okay, my threshold should be 0.43. I'm fine with this. I'm going to click on save and apply. The moment I do that, 2 new tables is going to be created. First, okay, let me go back there where it's also refreshing. Purchase decision. 2 new tables are being created. One is table enriched purchase, which is the normal table, but it's going to have additional column now for this is the column outcome. So we have the predicted outcome now. So the advantage here is if there's a new data set in this data, it's going to apply the algorithm, that model on it, and I'm going to have value for that column, irrespective of the original column, which is purchase decision. Purchase decision is there, but purchase decision will not continue to be there for new set of customers. It is just for the trained data we have. So when a new customer comes in, this guy is going to predict what the value is. And the second table right here is explainability table. So this table just tells us for all this value that I've predicted, these are the column value these are variables that contributed to each of them. We've seen that before, but for every line, if I predict A for this guy, these are the columns here that contribute to that. In the second row, it might not be the same column that is contributing, so you are able to dive deep to understand where what columns are more important, and this can also help you to go back to the business. this particular date of first purchase is important. It's aiding what we are doing, and we don't take it serious. What are the data quality metrics? How many rows are empty? How can we go back and make sure we clean this? You see, more value can come from these kind of activities. I'm really excited that we are doing this together. You can see that, yes, as a data analyst, what you are doing now is currently changing because the features in the tools we use is changing and is redefining the way we work. Don't forget that line, right? Let's go to the last part of this video, which is going to be about, can you guess? We're going to be explaining the model, not the result. Explainability. We connect to Power BI desktop and try to run some analysis on top of this. Let's analyze model explainability output in Power BI desktop and maybe call it a wrap up for this course. Let me move back to my Power BI desktop and connect to the Dataflow that we created and also run our analysis. I'm in Power BI desktop now and I've signed in with my details. I need to connect to my Dataflow. I'm going to go to get data and click on data flows. It should prompt me to sign in, so I'm going to sign in with my account. I'm done signing in and I can see right there my workspaces. I'm going to open up my workspaces. You then see your workspace that you've created. Mine is ML in Power BI demo, and within that I have two data flow purchase decision. Within purchase decision, I'm going to see all the tables, but the one I'm interested in is the purchase explanations, and I'm going to click on load because I don't really need to do any transformation on that data. At this point, it's connecting to my data flow, creating the necessary connection, and loading. It's going to start loading the data. It took quite some time to load it just because the volume of data and network speed. You can come over to this data view and you see all the column, and let's look at it now so that I can use this to also explain what is happening here. So purchase outcome is, if it is true, it means it's buying. If it is false, it means customer is not buying. And under the feed, we have several feeds which include base probability. All the feeds are the feeds that were used in the model in training the algorithm, not the additional feature created. Under variable, you're going to see under this display test, which is the variable, you're going to see additional variable created from each of those feeds. So they're going to be plenty. All right, and that's what we're actually interested in trying and fixing. Then you see contribution. What percentage is each of those variable contributing in making that prediction? And what you can see right here is purchase explanation index is row wise. So meaning row 1, this base probability does not contribute to prediction of row 1. That is why we don't even have it for row 1. How will you know? Let me filter here for 1. You're going to see for 1, these are all the variables that contributed to the prediction. You can see them. Oh, base probability is there, but it's actually at the bottom right there. These are all the variables. These are the feeds that we use. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This date first purchase is appearing 5 times because during featureization, when additional variables were created from that particular column, about 5 other columns were created, and those columns actually individually contributed in the prediction of that result that is true. All right, so I have to take this back so you know now that, oh, we don't need to count 1 all this number of times. 1 is a single row. So when I'm writing some measures, you're going to also follow through with me. Okay, I'm going to select everything back and click OK. I just want to do 2 things, maybe 2 or 3 things. I'm not after making this fancy report. I want you to work on it, but I want to explain what is happening right here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a measure that calculates total value, which obviously is going to be distance count of the index. The index is really, which of them is index right here now? That is purchase explanation index, distance count. So I'm going to right click here and say new measure and say total. So it's going to be distance count of index, purchase index. That is it. Then we have the total count. I can always bring it right here. Okay, and I can make it a card so that we know. all right. And for the total, measure is whole number, so every other thing seems fine here. I can put it as comma, and I apply comma, then that can also affect. When I come over here under value, display unit, I can keep it at none so that I can see exact number. Okay, I can also start running some charts with this guy and maybe make it bend and say top, and rename this guy. I should even rename this display text to variable because it's actually variable, and I can run top, maybe top 10 or bottom 10, you know, on this. Let me come over here and switch on data label and then bring this guy down here. And what also, let's just make it top 10 because it's plenty, so let's make it top 10. Come over to this filter under total, less than, sorry, under explanation rather, come to, instead of basic filtering, come to top 10, top n, and put 10 here. And I'm going to drag the guy here, which is total, drag it inside by value and click on apply filter. So this is top 10. I can Ctrl C and V on this chart so that I can paste it. Okay, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Or I can paste it. I can change this value from top 10 to bottom. Just like that, we have bottom 10, and click apply. Okay, I have bottom 10 and the values are already here. Good. The other thing I want to do is what's the percentage contribution by these values. We're going to do some little formatting later, but let's see percentage contribution. So I'm going to new measure, I'm going to call it contribution percentage, which is going to be, I need to divide total by, I'm going to calculate, and I'm going to also run total and say all. What do I need? All. This is my display text. This guy is going to change to variable very soon. So what am I doing here? I'm just saying total. Okay, let me run this so that you understand what is happening right here. If I add this here and turn it this and make it percentage, if I click here, I can click on percentage. All right, this is all the records. That is why this guy is 100%, all the records. When I click on this guy, which is 7.7 thousand, this guy is going to change 7.7. I also want to know what is the percentage contribution, which you can see now 40.26 out of those total records. Year of date first purchase affected 40.26% of the records, and that's 7,698 customers. If I do not put this all here, the moment I'm filtering by this guy, this also value will also be turning to 100% because it's going to be dividing 7,698 by 7,698. But here I'm saying, irrespective of the filter that I put, only use all of them here, and that's simply what we've done. Okay, so now that this is right, all I just have to do next is let's bring in a filter. I actually want to change the name of this guy to, let me double click and call it variable. Alright, so it will affect every other places that is appearing, and I'm also going to turn it to a filter right here and come over here under slicer settings, make it drop down, just drag it. You know, we're actually done with what I want to show you, which is this slicing and dicing. You are free to be creative with whatsoever you want to do here, free. And I'm also going to do the same thing for this guy. Ctrl C, Ctrl V for filter, and instead of variable, bring in feed this time around. Feed. Okay, where is this guy? Instead of variable, I'm going to delete variable. This variable, sorry, I'm going to remove variable here, and this is feed. Of course, we know what those feeds are. Right, so let's just apply some effects. Come over here, general. I always like effect, and one of them is shadow because it can just change automatically the look and feel without even any aesthetics, the look and feel of my report. So back here and general effect, apply shadow. I'm going to apply shadow on all of them, and that's the only formatting that I'm doing right now. Then we're going to wrap it up there. All right, so we have this. let's do some drag and extension here on this guy. Okay, we have this way, all the top 10, bottom 10 and top 10. I can rename them. I can also stretch this guy. You can see contribution. They just fluent, more or less the fluent design. Okay, you can add a text here in case you also want to call it something. Let's just wrap it up like home text box and call it purchase decision model explainability. Yep. Then I can then increase the size to 32, something like this. 32, I think 32 is too much. Let's keep it at 28. Okay. All right, then I can bring this guy down here. Okay. Few other things is, we don't have a color. You can have color. You can obviously you can change this guy. Come over here, general, under effect, background. Let's just give this guy a nice color, gold, of course. And if you're giving it a gold color, then the text there, we must give the text a white color. So color value will turn this guy to white. And also the label here will turn the label as well to white. Okay. What other color should we give this guy? First, I need to turn this guy also to white, so that when we get there, we'll be able to just change everything white. Then come back here under effect, background. I can even click on more color. I can come towards this side and find something like this. Cool, right? Okay. So all these other things, they can be there. So you see, we have actually done some reports to dive deep. If I click on this guy, day of the year, I can see the percentage contribution, and you might also want to connect directly to the data itself and also do what we call non-value, because we also have the correct data. How many missing value do we have? And that way you can say this value you are looking at, actually some part of it we're missing. So it's a valuable data. Why are we missing? Why are we having missing value? What do we need to do to clean up our data? Very important, isn't it? Okay, thank you and bye. We've come to the end of this course, and you agree with me it's really a valuable one. I hope while you are going through this, you've actually liked and subscribed to this YouTube channel. More importantly, let me re-emphasize this. You will agree with me that our work is changing. As a data analyst, you are now expected to build and deploy machine learning model. And thank God we have Power BI service that's now enabled this feature. So beyond just building and deploying machine learning model, what is most important is the value you are delivering to the business. Imagine how we're able to highlight those values. First, it's not about the technicality, it's about how are we meeting needs, and how we're able to structure and use the cost benefit feature to find out what point are we going to deliver value to this organization, and are we truly going to deliver, by how much are we going to deliver. Another thing I want you to pay attention to is the data quality or data improvement opportunity that a machine learning successful machine learning model project can actually deliver. As you are finding those values that contribute significantly to the prediction of your model, you can go back to the data. What's the data quality about these variables? And if some of the data are missing, you could recommend such kind of data like this that are actually valuable. Why are we having missing value there? Can we do some data cleaning exercise? Or the company can actually understand better how much are they losing for every of their records that are now up to date on those key variables. Okay, I am also going to do more of this, but I want you to go ahead, try these things repeatedly, make sure you are used to them, you know how they work, you can understand how these features are changing. I wish you all the best on this learning journey, and see you back on this channel.